Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again to the next episode in the series. In the last episode, we went ahead and just kind of filled out a little bit of the detail fragment here, built out a new UI, and of course, I forgot to commit all my work. So I am really struggling to do that at the end of videos. I'm not going to say I'll try to be better or I'll try to do it because I said that for the past like 3 videos and it didn't work. So we'll figure it out. But anyway, we have one small issue here that I just wanted to cover because it's actually a very quick win. And again, it's just more library config and knowledge and whatnot. But we just have our default app name set to the toolbar up here or the action bar. And then, if you click on something here, it still stays there, and specifically, or more importantly, we don't have the back button at this moment in time because we haven't notified, the activity that this fragment wants to draw um, the back button there, and then handle it in the on options item selected and stuff like that. So we have to navigate this way, which just isn't that great. You could leave it that way, but it's obviously good to provide back navigation, also so the user understands a little bit more about the navigation of the application. But we need just a few little components here, and we'll be all good. So we need something called the app bar configuration. There's a bunch of different uses for this, but most importantly, we need it for what we're trying to do here. So we're going to set that equal to an app bar configuration, and at the moment, we're just going to do a pretty basic one with the nav controller graph, and then we will call a function called setup action bar with nav controller, and here we're going to go ahead and just pass in the nav controller and the app bar configuration that we just created. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a run and see how that changes, because it's going to change a few things. Okay. So immediately we have home fragment listed on the in the action bar, and if we click on something, we have attraction details now in the header, and we have this back button here in the UI. However, clicking it doesn't do anything. But we literally just changed these 2 lines of code here. There's nothing about this screen that makes it say attraction details that we've implemented, or this screen here say home fragment. And again, that is just one of the benefits here of the NavGraph itself. So if you remember from an earlier video, the label associated with the fragment is actually what ends up showing up in the toolbar when you do this setup, action bar with app bar config and with the nav controller and stuff like that. So now we can actually modify certain things, again, in or from attributes that are set in the XML. So just another really quick win that just makes a lot of sense. So here we're going to go ahead and say maybe like Senya home or something along those lines. Maybe home, I don't know. We'll leave it as Senya home, which is kind of funny, Senya home. Like send you home. Anyway. Attraction details, we're going to go ahead and leave that. That seems to make a little bit of sense here for the screen that they end up moving to. So if we pop in again, boom, we'll see send you home, and then we don't have this, or we have the attraction details, but we just don't have this hooked up yet at the moment. So again, we just need a little bit more config here, and specifically we just need to override a function. I'll link this documentation in the description, but this is the function that we are looking for, so we're just going to go ahead and copy that. And then instead of fetching our nav controller, we already have it because we have our nav controller stored at a global level. And then we will just override this function saying nav controller, can you navigate up basically with the app bar config. So again, this is just how we communicate to the app bar config, to the nav controller, to the graph, integrate the library into the fact that the user has clicked some kind of back navigation. And if the NavGraph detects, the NavGraph will do its thing at that point. So then we can go ahead and click on Zagreb, and then we can click the home button and things just kind of work, or sorry, the back button, and things just work now as expected. Also, this didn't break either the gesture, or if there's, you have the device that has the little buttons down at the bottom, none of that broke. Those soft back buttons and stuff like that still work. They actually always worked, but now we've integrated this toolbar, if you will, with our nav controller. So and our NavGraph. So at this point, I've gone ahead and just made use of a couple more of the library functions here, a couple more, rounding out exactly what it has to offer, and then, everything that we've set up in here as far as the label, as far as the destinations from, here to here, and you can see that depicted here. Can you refresh? Because that's not the layout at all anymore. Come on. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. That doesn't look good. Yeah, so that's yes. So there's a lot more, I guess, knowledge here that the application now knows about because of these recent additions here and whatnot. So now we basically have everything connected the way that we want to, and any other fragment that we move to in the future is going to work this exact same way. And if we click this button and navigate to a fax fragment, and then they go back, they'll come back to here, and then they'll go back again. So it's really just, once you get things up and running, it just makes a lot more sense. The whole, like, being able to visually represent the navigational flows in your application through this NavGraph, in XML, and then also seeing it here is just makes a lot of sense. And using the library properly ends up working to your advantage tremendously. We'll get into it in a little bit, but there are ways to basically tether specific options that are in either this drawer layout, or if they have this bottom bar, which is always so popular in like home or high level navigation in your application. There's ways to tether these specific items to basically bring you to different destinations in your NavGraph, and therefore there are certain things that that will then work automatically for you, and then there's a little bit of a backstack retained and everything. So there's a whole lot more that we can add to this, but for now I just kind of wanted to call out how we can get this back up to speed to the point where we now have two screens that are fully connected to one another, very easily able to just snap between the two of them, and things are starting to fall into place here. Go ahead and commit this kind of stuff. Again, Command K to get this little window open. If we only wanted to commit certain files, we can uncheck the ones that we don't want to commit, etc. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and say, filled out the attraction detail fragment by completing its UI for now. Added background details title, drawable resource to provide a nice background for the title, overlaying on the image, and we further connected our NavGraph to the application via, you can also do this like little, what's the word for it? I don't know what the word for this character is actually, but on my keyboard it's to the left of the 1, and if you were to like shift and click on that key, it gives you the tilde, this little guy. But you can go ahead and just click that. It's like not an apostrophe, so that's an apostrophe, and then there's this one. It's like slightly more angled, I don't know, but this will actually kind of come up as like a small code segment in GitHub's UI, because you've defined it to kind of have these little icons on the, or not icons, but these little, I don't even know what they're called, but to have text within these markings here would kind of make it look like a small code sample as opposed to just normal text. So you can kind of sort of format certain things in here if you know the formats for them and how they translate in the GitHub UI. So we're going to go ahead and just push everything. At this point, we have not pushed a lot, so by the time you end up viewing this video, the repo will be at least up to date on this at this point. And if we take a look at it real quick, let's see if it comes out nicely. All right, so it doesn't here, but it will somewhere, trust me. I think that's going to bring me to the same spot. Anyway, definitely it'll work in like a code review or something along those lines, but we can see that the project has been updated here, and so definitely feel free to pull everything down, see it all firsthand, get it to run in your hands either on a physical device or on an emulator, and then you know, you'll start to just enjoy what we've created so far. I'd be curious to see how this looks on a real device. You know, everything looks better on a real device than an emulator. So any recent device, this will probably actually look pretty decent, to be honest. So I'm enjoying how this is coming out. Sorry for going back and forth on this little committing, but everything's up to date. I'm going to try to figure out a better way to remind myself that I need to commit at the end of every video. But again, thank you so much for the continued support. Please like, comment, and or subscribe, or dislike. You know, any interaction with content would be much appreciated. And hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. We will continue adding more in the next episode. So I will catch you there.